Thank you so much, everybody, for coming. Sorry we're getting started a few minutes late. We wanted to make sure that everybody was able to attend that wanted to see the presentation. Gifts Rwanda is truly a unique nonprofit with a clear mission. We follow the lead of the locals in a small Rwandan village called Rugarika. Our goal is to respond when invited to help the people of Rugarika create sustainable, positive changes that encourage and support abundant, joy-filled lives. Our acronym, GIFTS, really represents our core values. Can anybody guess what those letters represent? So starting with G.
Generous.
Giving. G is giving. How about I? Will. Nice. All right, F. It's a hard one. F is fulfilling. So it's fulfilling the hearts of us to support these incredible people, and then it's fulfilling a need that they have. T. Not team. Good try. Transformative. So something that we were truly able to see while we were there was how transformative Gifts Rwanda's impact has been to the village of Rugarika. And then S stands for sustainable. So what we're doing are things that are helping the people make sustainable changes to uplift themselves out of extreme poverty. Truly, what sets us apart is that we were invited by this community that we aim to serve, and the work is carried out by these local residents. So this creates jobs and fosters economic growth. The village of Rugarika is home to some of the most inspiring individuals you could ever meet. Their stories of perseverance, faith, and forgiveness serve as powerful examples to us all, and we're thrilled to share more about their stories with you today. To begin, I'd like to introduce our founder, Sherry, who will share the story of how Gifts Rwanda came into being.
So there's other founders here too, Cheryl and Will Jones and Al. We were the first in Korea too. She went on a trip with me. But anyway, I'm going to go back a ways. Just when I was a child, quite young, TV came, into our lives. So you can see how old I am. And, there's only a few channels. And I remember even as a really young child, it was on the news a lot in those days. I think it was Ethiopia, the people starving. They joke and I saw those little kids in the parents just stealing loans. And it happened for years. And they would pop up every once in a while. I always thought, I want to go to Africa someday, and I want to help people somehow. And later on that happened, so that's cool. Let's see. Of course, when I grew up and got married, college and all that, had lots of kids. And so that kind of got sidetracked for a while. It wasn't in the cards right then. But then as I got older, I got to a place, and this is where there's you're always walking and someone else is turning to, or someone else has gone ahead to prepare the way for you to see. That happens a lot. Well, Cynthia Edwards goes to our church, and her daughter Kristen was in Rwanda, and she was going to, she was with a group for about 3 or 4 years. I was there, and she saw that the need there for high school girls and boys was that they couldn't finish high school and then have a career, because if it doesn't money, you have to work in the mines and in the ground to make money and then they would pass enough. So she started this group called Peace Family. And so she asked for volunteers and people, see that we were one of those people to acknowledge that other people paved that path. And we came to see her and saw other things happening. And the priest asked us to help his village, which had very poor people. And so we started with that. It was a different village. And that was something. We mostly started with educating kids and paying for their way, getting to school, and providing food and things like that. Anyway, so starting with that. Let's see if there's anything else. Yeah, I think it's cool that Al encouraged me as I retired to do that. And then he also encouraged me to go with me so I would get lost. So that was good. And we had a good time doing that. And then here she and Albert, and Al just really super about that. And such that was another thing that was kind of, what do you call it, providential. We were talking with Barbara, her mom, who's here today, and saying, we need somebody to help me because I just do all the math and the computer business and all that. It's really hard. And so she goes, oh, Annie is looking for a job that had meaning to it and good goals to it all. She was kind of trying to feel fun. And so she came along. She's been such a blessing. And she works very hard. Anyway, I'm just thankful to the three of them for making that trip too. Where's that? So anyway, they left their children and came to Rwanda, took lots of shots. It took a lot, whatever. But it's come a long way, since the very beginning when we started. There's a lot more going on. You guys can tell about that and share about what's next. Okay? Thank you.
So next I want to introduce Karina.
Hi, I'm Karina Alvarez. As you know, like me, I'm Greg's daughter. I went on a trip 10 years ago with my mom to Rwanda, and I was the original one who started the website and the social media and all that stuff, so I was very happy when Annie came along to do that instead, because I wasn't very good at it. Being able to go on this trip again and returning to see Bridget and Deshaun, they're the same people that we worked with on our first trip with Mom. Seeing them again was amazing, and then just seeing all the things that Get Rwanda is doing and I will be talking about.
And Karina is really good at all of those things, and so appreciative of her continued support. Albert, do you want to go into anything? Want to wait till the end? Okay. All right, so brings it to me. My name is Annie. I am 43 years old, and I spent the first 20 years of my adult life in the fitness industry. I really thought that I wanted to help the next generation with their fitness and health goals, and as having two little girls, I really wanted to help change the way that people looked at fitness and exercise and see it as something that's community and health and not body scale, body measurement. My dad passed about 4.5 years ago, and then COVID happened. And a little thing that I think we're all pretty familiar with, Black Lives Matter took off. And I saw things happening in our country and our world that dropped me to my knees. And I thought, I do not care about fitness anymore. I care about what is happening to people for no other reason than the color of their skin and the land they were born on. And I am not going to leave this earth without doing my part to serve and to help those people. And so I dug deep, got a life coach, found a course through Boston University about fundraising, and the only people who knew, because I still had my fitness business, was my husband and my mom. And my mom went and visited her brother and said, you're not going to believe what Annie's doing. And he said, well, you're not going to believe what we have and need help with. And so it was just a beautiful opportunity that I received to leave the fitness industry and to come on and help with this incredible nonprofit, Good Rwanda. So recently, we had the privilege to returning from a life-changing trip to Rugarika, to the village. So I've been serving Gives Rwanda for a little over 2 years. So I had been working with these people for about 2 years before getting to meet them, and it was the most impactful thing of my life outside of raising my girls. So let's get started on our trip. So I'm going to really focus on pictures and videos because I feel like that really paints the picture a lot better than my words. But what I wanted to say, something that was really interesting, was to get to Rwanda, you go over the North Pole. How many people knew that? We found out at the airport. I was just looking at the list and I thought we went around, and I thought that was very odd that I was going to the Middle East to then come back. Well, no, it's because you're going up. Apparently that's super safe, and it wasn't super turbulent. I thought it would be a lot crazier than it was, but you go over the North Pole and then down to, it was either like Dubai or Qatar, and then into Africa. So I took a video of the back of our seat. It was because there's a camera going under the plane that shows you the train that you're flying over, which is super cool. And so I took a video with my girls, because usually there was clouds and so you couldn't see much, but at one point you really could. So this is flying over the North Pole. And so we were able to see that. Yeah, I just thought that was really neat. And it takes about 30 hours to get there. Every step of the way had its issues. We brought Albert with us. He was not a part of this Rwanda. It wasn't his, passion or anything. He is in construction and the husband of Karina, and he was kind enough to come with us so we would have a male presence with us the whole time going to the Middle East and all that. And we did witness with not being treated as well as, say, in America, even in SAC at the Qatar check-in. And so it was really helpful having them and having him. But something that, we came to understand was Annie gets searched at every check-in. And so we barely got on. And again, we're still in Seattle, we're like minute 4. And I have Karina's carry-on in mine, because, long story, but they went through and then they took mine, and they wouldn't let me go on with these 2 carry-ons. Karina had 0 carry-ons, I had 2. They would not accept the math on that. But I didn't give them the luggage because we really needed it. So finally, it took many minutes. A woman intervened on this man who was not hearing my words and got us through. And then in Qatar, I was being searched, and my watch was taken, and I really liked my watch. And I came back, and while I was being searched, I made friends with a gentleman who is from Rwanda, and he was working in Qatar at the Qatar airport, and so he was really excited that we were going to serve his home country, and he was very passionate about that country. And so when I came back, the manager wouldn't give me my watch. He intervened, and he was actually able to get me my watch back. We then get to Rwanda. All of our luggage, so our carry-ons were all of our stuff. All of our checked luggage was for the village. So we had hundreds of shirts, pencils, notebooks, all these, like so many toys, all these things. 5 huge suitcases full, all tagged, we could not access. They didn't know English, we are not fluent in Rwandese, and they went through everything. So I also got searched. And so I made friends with this thing. He looked like a police officer, but just like probably a security guard for the airport. And he knew a little bit of English, so I got to know him, and he was really kind as we were kind of going through all this. It was like an hour long. And we went through every bag and we explained every item, and there was about 4 or 5 of them. And when we finished, we thought, go. And they just held all of our stuff and just were not giving it. And that security guard came in front of us, and Albert, Rena and I were looking at each other like, I don't even know, like, what do you do? Like, I don't know what to do. And he came in front of us, spoke words to them, and they released our stuff and we left. So the reason I share that is it just felt like every step of the way, there was an angel. There was just someone helping us. And we never freaked out. We never, and we always just trusted, and we just surrendered in, the unfolding of what was going to take place next. And it was just, I don't know, looking back, it was really cool how many strangers really helped us and supported us through the trials. Then we got out, and Patan and Brigitte here were there, and they were really worried because it took us a really long time. And I didn't see until afterwards that they were messaging us like, what in the heck is going on? But they weren't allowed in to help us, and we weren't allowed out. And so they had bouquets for us, and were just so excited to see us, and we just embraced them immediately, and just couldn't have been more grateful to see them, and immediately just felt like family. They told us towards the end, especially Patan was like, I just didn't know what to expect. We had been working together virtually for so long, and he just said, I just didn't expect it to be such a, family. Like that we were just such a family and so immediate. They had never left Rwanda. I had never been to Africa. And for that love and connection, because of the service and the goals that we share, was magical. So we went back to the hotel with them and checked in and rested a bit, and then sat with them and made a plan for the week. And so we really sat down at that point and just figured out how we were going to do the most service in the least amount of time. Because we had about seven full days there, and then divvied out all the supplies that we got and moved on with our week. The next day, we wanted to start the trip going to the Genocide Memorial. That will be the 30th anniversary next year, and it was important for us to pay our respect, to acknowledge what happened there, and to just be with them, in solitude. Something that I didn't know now that it's been almost 40 years, similar to what you hear about what happened in Germany with the Holocaust. There are genocide deniers, and now you're looking at generations that have lived since that, so they didn't experience the genocide, right? And so, to go through something like the Rwanda genocide, and then to have people tell you that did not happen is horrifying. And so just to be there with them, to acknowledge what happened, and to just share empathy and compassion for that situation, and then just how proud we are of what they've done as a country to uplift themselves, and with their forgiveness that they have shared. And if you don't know about that, I highly recommend reading on it. It is something that America can learn a lot from. And on our website, on our blog, we have a list of books we recommend. I think Sherry has a few on the back table as well. To learn more, but it's very, very interesting. So from there we were able, I'm going to skip ahead, so this is us at the memorial, and then from there we were able to go to the village that we serve, Rugarika. Just 2 to 3 days before we left, we got the opportunity to increase the amount of people that we serve for their health insurance from 400 to 1,237. So it was a huge jump for us. But to give somebody health insurance for a year is just under $3. So literally 2 days before we were leaving, Brigitte reached out and asked, let us know that a sector leader, which is like a governor of Washington, that's kind of what that means there, but this sector leader had asked, can we increase our capacity by adding this 837 10 people. And Sherry and Karina and I were able to sit down, look at the numbers, and say, yes, we can do this, and we can bring the money. And so we brought that money, and it was just such a beautiful thing that we were able to experience, because we do these projects. We've never actually been there to watch one be implemented. So from start to finish, we got to see that money being given, the cards being created, those people being handed their insurance cards. And it took Brigitte about a week to go through that process. So that was really cool. I wanted to see the hospital and the medical place that these people go to so that I could show you. This is a young woman who let us take her picture. We gave her some money. She's recovering from a birth. Her baby was there. We didn't eat the baby, but she was having some infection issues and getting seen by the doctors and staying at the hospital there. So from there, we were able to go to, I'm going to call it a compound, but the place where there is a church, and this is their pastor, and that is also where the primary school and the secondary school is taught. It's also where we rent space for our new mom sewing group that I'll tell you a little bit more about in a bit, happens, as well as like our beading and our soap making groups that I'll talk about a little bit later. So a lot of the things that Get to Rwanda does happens at this compound. And so to meet the pastor that serves this place was really special. He lives, so this is his church to the left, and then he lives in a little house right behind that you can see in the back of the picture. He doesn't speak English, but he works very closely with our team, Brigitte and Patan, to really serve the people with the most need of the Rugarika village. So he's very, very important to Get to Rwanda, and it was really neat to finally get to meet him in person. From there, due to our donors, about a year ago, we were able to purchase land that is 300 feet away from the church and the primary school and the secondary school. So just literally right next door. We got this huge plot of land that we're building a house. These are our construction workers that we pay, and then the building behind them is going to be the sewing room. So we're not going to have to pay rent anymore at the compound, and we're going to be able to give our new mom sewing group space within this building. We were able to launch that group about 2 years ago, and they are a very tight-knit community. A lot of them don't have a community because they are single new moms. They've been shunned, and so this is their space. This is going to be able to be their space to help and serve each other, make a living, and then help the next group of young girls. So to the left of this, you can see it's going to be a chicken place where we raise chickens to sell and use for meat as well. So that's the beginning of what we're doing at this land, but we have lots of hopes and dreams for things that we're going to be doing in the future, and I put a little word on that on the yellow sheet that we handed out there, and we don't have one of those on the back. All right, so the next day, came back to the compound, and they had the primary students and the secondary students. So we saw both groups. We started with playing games with the primary students, and I was blown away by how friendly and outgoing the kids were, and how close they are. What a neat community that they are together. We played this game that a lot of icebreaker games that I think that America should take notes on. One, it was, Brigitte would yell out a number, and you would basically hug that many people. And then you'd all walk around in a big circle, probably singing, and then she'd call out another number, and you'd hug that many people, but it had to be different people, right? So really getting out of your comfort zone, getting to know other people, touching, and I mean, they were pros. This is clearly something that they did on a regular basis, and they were all just so close and friendly, and it was really neat to see how joyful, happy and mature they were. You know, I felt like the maturity level was higher than this age group in my daughter's school. So from there, Karina and I gave a presentation to the primary kids about how to be good humans, honestly. It was like top 12, this is what we came up with. It was kind of like the top 12 things you could do to be a great, you know, community member. And it was things like honesty and giving and, you know, all the things you would think of. And I started, like I did with that gift acronym, like, what do you guys think? And I think that they came up with like 9 of the 12. Raising their hands, speaking to me, they were not intimidated, they were excited to be with us. And I was blown away by just how well spoken they were, and how engaged they were. You know, they're not goofing around doing the things that I see in my daughter's. So then, from there, we placed the names with the secondary students. The secondary is like middle school, high school age, and they had us give a talk with just the girls on menstrual health, and we're really working on an initiative to help with getting the girls things they need during their menstrual cycle to keep them in school. So what is currently happening in most of Africa is during the week of menstruation, girls don't come to school because they don't have the appropriate things. And so we're trying to change that, and we're working with Mooncatcher, a nonprofit named Mooncatcher. It's a really, really powerful nonprofit that helps them learn to sew and create. So our sewing group's going to be creating the menstrual pads, basically, that are reusable and all of that. And so talking to them about that, helping them understand how important not getting pregnant is. Similar things that we're talking about in America, honestly, but are even more important there because so much falls on the mother, and when you're in, just like here, when you're in extreme poverty, it's very, very hard to get out of it when you have babies and are really young. So it's kind of cool. Afterwards, I took this picture of Karina and Albert, because some of the kids afterwards, we kind of had some downtime as we were getting donuts and Fanta, that they were asking questions. And do you want to talk about this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it was funny because the boys we didn't get to talk to because they wanted to split out the boys and girls, and I wish we would have because they need to know about girls' menstruation as well. So anyway, so they were talking with the girls and had many more questions, and so we were trying to explain to them like this is how this works. And so, of course, like also Annie and I we don't have a health background, and so doing this talk in the first place was kind of just uncomfortable for us, but it turned out to be, I think, really good because information that they need to know and hear. So yeah, I wish we would have given the talk to the boys, but talking to these ones here, I think was good. And they also, a few of them were very good with English, and so that was very surprising too. Like this guy here, we were just talking back and forth in English the whole time, so it was great.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll talk more about our uncomfortness on the next day with the university students, but that is something that I want to take for next time. This is our first time doing this, and next time I definitely, like Karina said, want to do this with both genders. And I understand wanting to do it separately with the comfort level of the kids and all of that, but they were hungry. Some of them were very hungry for education as well, and so yeah, I'll talk more about that on the next. So we also got to hear their kind of wants and dreams, and something that came up with the secondary students was their dream of university or trade school. And just graduating with the secondary school education is not giving a lot of job opportunities. Again, exact same thing we can relate to in America. And so they were really hungry for, what's next? What do we do next? We don't, want this to stop. Like, we really want he had a dream to be a nurse, and they have these dreams to do these career paths that they don't have the funding to do. And so that's an initiative we didn't know about prior to this visit, but it's something that we're really trying to do, and we have about 14 graduates that we'd like to support for various trade schools and universities going forward. And so he did his best to tell us in English. And that's something I wanted to reiterate that Karina was saying as well. I mean, how many of our primary school students in America are fluent in another language? Some, the ones that are in immersion schools, but they need parents that get, that's private or all those things. They take more money, more resources. Our baseline kids, my girls, do not know another language. This English is not similar to the Rwandese, and so the fact that these kids are doing so well and knowing a second language blew our minds. Just with the kids, and this I think just shows just how close and how loving they were with us. I thought they would be shy. I really thought they would be shy. That was what I encountered 35 years ago in Japan. Because, Caucasian, like I used to have blonde hair, I let it go brown because I thought that would be less crazy for them to see. I mean, it just didn't matter at all. They were so loving and excited to see us. They feel like we are either their second parents for those that have parents or their primary parents for those that don't. And they told us that all the time. And it was a dream of theirs, and you could see it, to meet us and to be with us. And that connection was so powerful, and they are so passionate and excited to make us proud, to make someone proud, for somebody to feel like they care. And we do. And to be able to show that love and compassion to them and to receive that back so immediately was incredible. And so it's very important to me to return and to go on a regular basis annually, so that we can show them it's not, that we do care and that we are watching them grow up, and there is somebody, that cares about their progress and growth, and they very much want to do their best and make us proud. So that was something that I wasn't expecting. I'm going to share this video from one of the young men who is in secondary school still. He'll explain that, but he has dreams of going to university, and he's one of our more well-spoken English speakers, but I did add subtitles to this video to make it a little bit easier. This is on the compound, so I am standing like here. The primary school is behind me, and the sewing room. The church is so to his right, and then the secondary school behind there, and this is kind of a courtyard area where we did the icebreaker games and the different. And you can just see people all over playing and just being together and being a community, and that's something that we're creating on our property, 300 feet away as well, as another safe place for them to come and do stay out of trouble. So I'm going to play this. About halfway through, you're going to hear singing. That's the choir in the church right next door. And that was something that we got to hear when we first came. We thought it was music playing the first day that we got to meet the pastor, and it was actually a choir playing, and we got to go in and listen to them, and two of the people singing I recognized from testimonials that we've taken in years past, and it was just really neat to see. So there's a lot going on, and I'll let you listen, hear him.
My name is Rugarika Isai. So I studied at and craft there design. I call it that me too. I'm the family. I'm the one among of this family. So I used to join it in 2018 when I was gonna starting from S1. So before I was alone. I was alone with my family. It was so complex to make our life being free. So but today, since I was joining this family, now the life has already becoming free. So I was used to gain other opportunities and facilities which facilitate my life to be online. So just I can say it like that. Now my life is online. So I would like to say thank you, because I know that even now you will be with us until the end. No, I don't know whether it have the end, but yes, we are so happy because we know know that you will be with us from now until the time, I don't know that time, but in summary, we thank you for that. We thank you for that way you've made. We thank you for all of our school fees you've paid. We thank you for the way you've translated our life through the wished life. So also, I can say in the name of our families, we thank you for what a kind of support you've gave them. So also we thank you for everything you're gonna doing on the future in time. So in summary, also we thank you for this day you've made. For us, it was like a dream to be with you, to be our to be with our main sponsors, because it's so better because we are with you, you yourself. So that is why we are so happy today. Thank you.
Thank you. It's a dream of mine too.
I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
So just to get an idea of the type of people that we were talking to, and the hearts that they have, and the love and the joy for the simplicity, the simple life that they lead, it was really impactful.
My name is Rugarika.
All right. Okay, so this is, so the next day we came back and we were able to meet with the graduates. So we gave them a talk together, and it's about 14 of them who have graduated. There was 14 there. I think there's about 16 total graduates. 14 were able to come and see us from various places. One is now a police officer, this gentleman here, and I have a testimonial of him in all his police garb, so it's so fun to meet him in person in normal clothing. And another one is a nurse, and another one is wanting to become a nurse, and they have these dreams, and most of them do not have jobs. They have the secondary education, but they need funding to get university or trade school jobs. And so that was the thing that I heard from almost all of them, and that was a lot of what our conversation was, is how we can better serve and continue to help them. But we also gave them a talk on menstrual cycle and not getting pregnant, so I'll go into that story. So about a month before we left, Brigitte, in my opinion, dropped a bomb on me and Karina, and said, we want you to come and talk to them about not getting pregnant. Unwanted pregnancy is how she said it, unwanted pregnancy. And I said, we are like so not the appropriate people. We haven't had to give it to our kids. Like, we haven't no time, you know, any sort of education. And I just felt like it was so inappropriate for Caucasian white people to show up at this village and be like, you guys should not get pregnant. You know, it just isn't. I don't want to be categorized in that white saviorism, and I felt like that was bordering on that. Brigitte very politely and gently let me know that she hears me, but would like me to do that presentation. And so we were at a stalemate, so I lost. And Karina and I did our best, thanks to ChatGPT, together a how to not get pregnant presentation. And part of it, oh my goodness, part of it was showing how to use a condom. So, no problem. So we did that and put it on. Yeah. So we did not show how to use condoms. But we brought the condoms. That was one of the things searched and had to be explained at the airport. And we brought an empty water bottle. We forgot a banana. Karina and I gave the talk. Patan was translating. And Tom had agreed prior to do that part, the condom on the water bottle. So Karina and I got to that part, and Karina kind of said, you know, we're at that part, and I said, yeah, we sure are. And so I turned to Patan, and he's one of the funniest people I've ever met in my life, and I said, we're at the part where we're gonna need you to show how to put this condom on this water bottle. And he turned to me and he goes, "What?" and I said, "Right, I know. John, we're gonna have the part that you are going to show how to put this condom on the water bottle." And he turned to me and he said, "No problem." And he took that condom and he took that water bottle and he gave, Karina can testify, the best tutorial. And just, really, just so professional and so well done. And I realized at the end of that, and how Karina was saying all the questions and how we wish we would have given it to the secondary boys as well, I realized in that moment why they had asked us to do that. This was not the first rodeo. This is not the first presentation that has been given to these kids. They are working very hard, and we hear this about Africa, the overpopulation and trying to help, people not have children as young there and all of that to help with the poverty levels. And so they're hounding it in. These kids know a lot of this stuff. They needed somebody that these kids respect so much and think of like parents. I had no idea that we were viewed that way until I saw it myself. And I saw from us giving that with Catan the impact that our words had on them. And so I'm so glad that Brigitte stuck to her guns and had us give that, and we'll give it every time we're there if that's what they want. But it was really impactful, and I think it really made a difference. So after that, I sat down and I just listened to them. We listened to their stories, their wants, their needs, their appreciation, anything that they wanted to share with us. And I just wanted to sit and have that just open conversation with them, and Catan, help with the language barrier. Is there anything you want to say about that? Yes, that's it. And then so for all of these steps, we also had toys and balls and school supplies and all these different things for not only them, but their families, their siblings that were at home and all of that. And so, this is us giving some university kids balls and things to take back to their families. And then I'm going to have Karina speak more about this university student, or a graduate, secondary graduate.
Yeah, so we were told her story. She has a bit of a hard story. She was married a couple years ago, pretty young, had a baby, and then both of her parents died. And so then she ended up having to take care of all 4 of her younger siblings, as well as a newborn baby. So she's been struggling a lot, her and her husband. And she was one of the ones who asked for trade school help because she wants to get a better job to be able to actually support her family and her siblings. So yeah, a lot of the stories were similar to that. And so just another indicator of how important it is that we are there helping these students and continue to help them get higher education to help their families and their communities as well.
Yeah, their perseverance, was just something that America could learn a lot from. I mean, they are people that are just trying any way that they can to better themselves and better their community, and it was really powerful to witness. All right, I'm going to turn it back over to Karina for the beginning of this, but the next day we were able to go to the people's houses that we served. We started the day, Catan was driving, and we started the day with going to Suzanne's house, who Karina had met with her mom the prior visit.
Yeah, so this girl in the middle here, Suzanne, she's the one who started it all for Mom and I. The reason why we came to Rwanda 10 years ago for that first trip. Her brother, Edison, was also there. We saw him again. And so this day was really special for me because of that. Seeing the two of them grown up, again after 10 years, meeting her two beautiful daughters. This is actually our Peace Family book that we created 10 years ago with Suzanne and Edison in it, so they were looking at that. And we have some of that table. You want to take one of those? This girl here also was there. This is their sister. Her name was Nicole. But yeah, it was really special just to see them and connect with them again and see how they've been doing. Edison is a police officer in Rugarika, so he's doing well. Her and her husband have a little store that they run in their little town. Their daughters were very cute and fun. We looked at Google Maps when we were traveling to their house, and it was only 40 miles from where our hotel was to get to their house, but it took us 4 hours. So that's just to give you a perspective on traveling within Rwanda is very difficult. The roads and traffic there's a lot of traffic. We had to go through Kigali to get to that side of the country to where they lived, and yeah, it was not an easy drive. And it kind of, like Patan and Bridget also, they live seemingly close to the village of Rugarika, but it takes them over an hour each time that they go to the city village as well. So.
Yeah, it's the land of 1,000 hills. That's kind of what people think of when they think of Rwanda, and it's true. It is true. It is beautiful, but it is hilly, and the terrain is not easy. And so, yeah, going from place to place is difficult. And Gifts Rwanda bought Patan a motorcycle, and that has been huge. So motorcycles are able to travel, 3 to 4 times faster than a car in that country. And so, Brigitte, like myself, is not comfortable driving a motorcycle, and so she does the bus and then hops on Patan's back on his. So we went to, after Suzanne's house, we were able to go to Brigitte's home. Brigitte stayed with us in the hotel the whole time because her home's so far from Rugarika. And to get to her home and to be just welcomed with open arms by her husband, Jerome, was so special. We took her away from her family for a week, and he was just so kind and loving. Her boys were just so sweet. And then he had our chickens. So he has done chicken farms. And so these are the chickens that were in the back of their home that is being transported to our new land that has the chicken farm, and that's taking place right now. Basically, our chicken farm was finished, and these chickens are coming over. So there, and Jerome, at no cost to us, is taking this on and doing this all for us. So that's been really special. From there, I'm not going to talk about this as well, but we went to Patan's home. We ended up at Patan's home, and it was really special to meet his wife, Giselle. Something that you might not know about Rwanda is it used to be French. French, after it was colonized, French was the language of the second language that they were taught. That is not something Kagame was interested in continuing. Kagame is who runs the country, and so he switched it to English, lucky for us. So a lot of them are learning English now, which is great. Giselle, French. So she didn't know a lick of English. Unfortunately, Darla wasn't there, so we didn't have a French speaker. But again, the love and the connection that translated, just we had dinner with them, language didn't matter. And I never knew that until this. I'd never been in situations where, language was not the most important thing at all in the room. And so this is Karina with their son, and they have a special bond, I remember. Her telling me more about it.
Yeah, so this is Patan's son. His name is Aldo. He was very sweet. He knew a little bit of English, but mostly French, I think. And we brought a couple balls with us, like a soccer ball and a basketball. So we were playing around with that. And then Patan was giving us a tour of the house and the grounds that they live on. And Aldo just grabbed my hand and he was showing me everything and holding my hand the entire time. And it was just really cute and sweet. Cute little connection there.
Yeah, and I think it's another, he cares about us so much without ever meeting us before, and so I think that it'll be just really special for him to continue, just to make us proud and watch him grow up. And it's just, he really fell in love with Karina. So this is his wife and family here. All right, the next day we were back in the village. We started by going to their government building. So because of the opportunity that we got 2 days prior to flying out to take on 837 more people's health insurance needs for the year, the sector leader asked to meet us while we were there. Again, this is like a governor of Washington asking for you to sit and meet them. I mean, mind blown. So we got there, we went to his office, sat down, and he just wanted to say thank you for serving us, thank you for helping us, what do you need? And I said, we need an NGO. We are a 501c3 here in America, but something I didn't know when I started in this nonprofit sector, that means a lot in America. All your donations are tax deductible, but in the country you serve, it doesn't mean anything. You need to be an NGO, which is a nonprofit or non-governmental organization in that country to be a certified nonprofit. And the reason you want that is because a lot of grants that you apply for, you need to prove that you are a nonprofit in the country you serve, as well as America, but that one's just easier to get. So it costs a lot, there's a lot of hoops, it's not easy to get. I've been trying for about 2 years and it just wasn't something that financially made sense for us to do. So I brought up that fact that we've been working on that, and he said that he would help us get that NGO. And so the last day of that trip, Brigitte Couton, Karina Albert, and I sat and started working on that action plan, that application process for that NGO. And this sector leader is going to help us make that dream for the nonprofit country. So that was just really another unexpected and beautiful thing that transpired, and a relationship that began with him. So from there, we got to go back to the village and meet the new mom sewing group. So this is the group that is probably the nearest and dearest to my personal heart. It was launched about 2 years ago, so when I had come on. And these are girls that become pregnant a lot of times against their will, and then have babies, obviously are not married, and then are shunned by their communities and have no skill set, they're very young. And we were able to bring them together and have them become a community and get the skill set of sewing, tailoring, and then they help us make our uniforms for our primary and secondary students, and are able to build businesses. They asked us about a year ago for t-shirts that say Gifts Rwanda, because they felt so connected. They come together about 3 times a week, and it's like a support group for them. They're able to be together, have this community, have this time with their babies, and some toddlers now and all of that. And they were so proud to have a sense of community in this group together that they wanted a shirt to show it. And we got them these blue shirts that some of them were wearing that say Gifts Rwanda. I had brought hundreds of shirts from the elementary school I helped with, and so a lot of them put their Ridges t-shirts on top, which I was like, oh, because I love their shirts more. But it was really special to get to finally meet them and to be a part of that, and for them to be excited to help us bring on a new group of 20 young women, young new moms, and they'll be able to be mentors with them and help them become tailors as well. And now having our building, we won't have to pay rent, and they truly will have the space to be a community and to help others in. So this lady in the yellow shirt in this picture, she made this skirt. So they presented this to me at the end of that day, and I was able, you'll see it in a lot of pictures coming up, but I was able to wear it our final full day there. And then they made this skirt and a bunch of skirts for our daughters, a skirt for Sherry, and then we have them laid out on the back table for you to kind of see what they're doing. It even has a pocket. So I was very impressed. Oh, and they just eyeballed it. they were kind of watching us talk and stuff, and then you can see the fabric in some of the, and we didn't know what was going on, and then all of a sudden at the end of the day they presented that, because after we talked to them, we went across the courtyard and met our beading group, our soap making group, and our lotion making group, and they do all three of those things, this group of women. So these are older women, and this was started, I would say, about 5 years ago, and it's very sustainable at this point. And so they're making, beaded ornamental items, as well as bags and clutches. We purchased everything that they had out and brought that back. We were thinking we would give them to our donors, but then I realized, what good does it? It's a nice thank you, but if it's just going to sit in someone's closet, does that really help? I would rather bring them out, and if anybody is interested in purchasing and would actually use it, I would love for them to go to people who actually want to, utilize the bags. So we have the bags on the back table, as well as the small ornaments. What else? And then next to them, this is them making the soap. We have the soap and lotions in the back table as well, so you can look at them, smell them. We're not selling any of those, but it just shows you what exactly they're doing, they're making, and they're selling in markets and things. So we will have a space for them at the new property as well. We'll have a room for them to do all of this, so they won't be kind of storing their stuff, at the church or the school and paying for storage and things like that. But again, these are some of the most beautiful, joy-filled, loving women you would ever meet, and they are living with so little, and are just so excited to meet us, to love us, and just embrace us. It was really cool. So this is their soaps in front. We had brought them gloves and masks and different supplies that they had asked for. They're really excited about that. And then this is our final full day there, so I was able to wear my skirt. And we went to see the houses that Gifts Rwanda has built. So the last, 8 years, we've built duplexes and homes for families with nothing. And so we started the day buying hundreds and hundreds of shoes, and we probably went to at least 3 different markets throughout the day because we kept running out, because something that's very important for them to have are shoes, and shoes are only about $2. They're slides, so basically what's popular in America right now. But they're very cheap, and they're very easy, and they last quite a while, about $2 a piece. And so if you don't have shoes, you can have a lot of issues there with getting around, because that's how most people are able to get around. So anytime we found somebody with no shoes or shoes that were half gone, we would bring out the Santa Claus bag. I started calling it and get them sized. So we were going through shoes quickly. And we took those shoes, as well as a lot of the shirts and supplies that we had brought, toys and stuff, to the families of the different houses that we had built. They wanted to see us, show us the homes that we had built for them, and share their gratitude for those. So this is one family. They're living in a duplex that's behind us here, and they make pottery to sell. And they did an entire presentation that's on our blog. We have video of part of it, but as we came down, they had instruments and the whole thing. They did this whole song and dance. It was really, really special. Just giving their thanks. So this is Albert and Brigitte with the suitcase, one of the suitcases we had brought, and the Santa Claus bag of shoes. But you would walk half a mile from the nearest road to get to these homes. So these people are very remote. The kids were just so loving. I got a couple of really special relationships there as well. Kids holding my hand, taking me from house to house, because we would see a few, and then we'd drive to the next intersection and see a few. And we would go to a house, and kids would come running out of the field, and they were primary students wearing the Ridges t-shirt that I had given them 3 days before that I guarantee they hadn't taken off, right? Because they don't have more clothes. And they were just so excited to show us where they lived, where we had given them the opportunity to live, and to have these relationships with them is really, really special. This lady has seen more than any of us can ever imagine, and her gratitude and grace and joy was just something that really touched my heart, and I wanted to share. She's a grandmother, and she had her new shoes on, and she's got her home, and just really, really special people. This family is in a half-built home, so next to their home, and I have a video of this on the blog taking you through it with Patan, but we had finished this duplex and had a little bit of money left over, and so we tried to give them a home. It's about 15 living in the duplex. This is a family of 6. There's 3 generations here. And so Patan did what he could with the money left to build this. It is not complete, and it is not a sanitary space inside. And so we're hoping to raise the funds to finish that house for them. So go here again. This is just a very short video that I'm going to play. I'll preface before I play it. There's a woman with 6 children that does not have a home, and Brigitte Patan had tried to talk to her about giving her a home. She needs shelter for her kids, and she just was not interested. You'll see in this where they're living and the shoes that Albert and Karina and Brigitte were fitting them for. After meeting and talking to the mom, we all got back in the car, and Brigitte came in and was just over the moon, and she said, after meeting you guys, she is accepting a home. And so we are going to be building them a home here prior to the rainy season, but I'll just share with you so you can see her and the kids and the situations that they're living in right now. So it was just really powerful for her, and Brigitte had tears in her eyes to be able to give them the opportunity of having shelter and a better life for her children. So we went on to our final day, which was really sitting down. Oh, I didn't finish this one. Sitting down with Patan and Brigitte and mapping out an action plan for the NGO, but also just for us, as we would have done this anyways. For Gifts Rwanda, we heard a lot. What are we really going to focus on first? What is the most need? Where is Gifts Rwanda going in the next, month, 6 months, 12 months? And so on that yellow sheet that I handed out, there really is kind of the top 4 things that we're working to serve them on right away. Our website really explains all of those as well. Something that none of us expected to happen was Albert. So, Albert, as I mentioned earlier, came to because he loves Karina, his wife. But he came to support us, and I hadn't even met Albert. I met Albert the day before we flew out. So, it truly had nothing to do with me. But he came to have a male presence with us, and he Gifts Rwanda is his wheelhouse. It wasn't his interest, his passion. It wasn't something he had a lot of interest in. He didn't think until he went to the village and experienced it with us. And something that Albert shared with me was that he feels like he has a lot of useless knowledge in his head. He never really knew what it was for, what its purpose could be, until he was in the village and saw so many construction type situations that he could make better. And by the end of that week, the transformation that happened in that man was beautiful, and something I'm really grateful to have gotten the opportunity to witness. He ended that action plan meeting with his own plan of action that he mapped out and presented to Brigitte and Patan. And there was not one thing that he said in that meeting that they weren't like, yes, please. And so it was really, really cool to see, and I'm going to let him take the floor.
Thanks everyone for taking time out of your Saturdays to come. Apologize, it's been quite some time before I have to speak in front of anybody, so a little rusty here. So, as you know, I kind of just went to Rwanda as a chaperone.
That's good, that was the word I was looking for.
But as the days progressed and we were interacting with students and talking to the women's group, I began to get inspired and moved by not only the change and impact that Kids for Rwanda was doing, but also hearing about Annie's class and what she started with Kids for Rwanda and seeing her passion, as she said, her passion project. And I was just like, wow, maybe I could have, something like that too. And so by the end of the trip, I had my inspirations and ideas that I was sharing and with the group, and we'll be talking about those right now. So the essence of GIVE stands for sustainability. Depending on who you ask, it could mean different things. And for me, when I think about sustainability, I think about 4 key words: clean energy, clean air, water, and food. And I will explain how those kind of tie into what the people in Rwanda are facing. So, some of the challenges that the Rwandans face because they don't have access to basic infrastructure like power, water, paved roads, make their life really challenging. So, because of that, they don't have access to those 4 things, or I should say, very good access to those things: clean water, clean air, energy, and food insecurity also. So by them not having access to water year-round, there's a lot of problems, obviously. So 6 months out of the year, they have dry season, so they have to grab their water from the bottom of the hills and, run it up the hill wherever they live for food, for their crops, or for water for themselves, for their crops and their animals. So there's a huge need for water, and so pollution is also a big thing because they use coal and diesel fuel as their main sources of energy, which also contributes to health problems. While we're in Rwanda, actually a few days in, Annie lost her voice due to the poor air quality that we were facing while we were there. Deforestation is also a major issue because of the reliance on biomass fuels such as wood and coal. It also creates problems with erosion and water retention, as 70% of the population actually still actively farms. So a lot of these people, most of the population, are growing all the food that they eat. So this all is directly affected by deforestation. This all kind of contributes to food insecurity. Water is hard to get, fertilizer is expensive, and the families have to travel long distances to meet their basic needs. So how can we improve our efforts in Rugarika and help mitigate some of these issues? Some of my ideas are biogas. Biogas systems use organic matter and waste to create clean methane fuel source for cooking, heating, and a possible power generation. I'll go more of that into detail on my next slide. With water to the community center, as it stands right now, the community center only has about 5,000 liters of reservoir capacity. So, but we're talking about expanding a nursery garden and having livestock there. So having access to water year-round is something we definitely want to consider here. And some of those solutions would be either increasing capacity of the reservoir, either above or below ground. Let's see here. We either drill a well which would be a really long-term solution, and we can also get water pumps that are either powered by solar, some kind of form of petrol gas pumps, or manually pumps. So there's also, because of the deforestation of Rwanda, since the 1950s, 2/3 of their forests have essentially been wiped out from harvesting biomass and agricultural needs. So that's a huge problem that they're facing, and actually the Rwandan government is actually trying to replant 36 million trees by 2030. So It's something that we could potentially work towards and help the government with. They also need trees for water mitigation and erosion control and improving air quality. Aquaponics. Aquaponics is a system that uses fish to grow vegetables. It increases the variety of protein accessible to villagers, while also being able to harvest the fish 6 months out of the year. Families can grow with less space and can breed, sell fish and vegetables as a business. So, a tool library and a workshop space. People in Rugarika have very little access to resources or tools. So I'd like to establish a tool library that can help the community, with tools such as basic farming equipment, carpentry, and basic automotive tools. I would also like to have a space in the community center where workshops can be held, where we can exchange ideas, information, and create products that they can benefit from. So, onto biogas. Out of all these ideas, the main thing I want to focus on is biogas. Biogas is kind of a solution for a lot of problems that they are facing here. And here are 6 reasons pretty much why we should be using biogas in Rwanda. 1, improve the health of the household, because burning coal and wood fuels creates problems like COPD, respiratory infections and asthma, mostly for women and children. And using biogas can reduce the exposure to the occupants in the household. It's also, number 2, it's a renewable source of energy. So after its initial startup, about a month, it can produce about 3 to 6 hours of clean fuel source for various reasons. 3, reduce dependence on biomass fuels, such as coal and wood, reducing deforestation and increasing greenhouse emissions. And on average, because they use biomass as the main source, by implementing biogas systems, we could save about 60 trees annually a year per household by using these systems. 4, reducing waste, which is kind of self-explanatory. 5, it's a free fertilizer as a byproduct of the system, and so they can use it for their own farming or to sell. And 6, it also would create, I guess I did change that one. Sorry. 6, it can create business and job opportunities for Rwandans also. So, and the good thing about all of these things that I stated is that the Rwandan government has already, some of these programs already in place. They're just having trouble implementing and kind of perpetuating these systems through the country. So we could definitely, might be able to step in and help accelerate the problem, solving these issues and making their lives a little bit more easier. So I'm going to turn it over back to Andy, and that's what I have. More questions?
Yeah, we're going to stay up here for Q&A, but a lot of the things that he talked about we would be able to do on the land that we've already acquired and purchased that has the buildings and things and the space for these projects to happen as soon as we have the funding for it. So basically, I just want to open it up to Q&A and just let you know that this, as you heard, was one of the most impactful things that we've ever experienced in all 3 of our lives, and we're excited to go back and to continue developing and watching them prosper and grow. And the things on the yellow sheet that you were handed out are kind of our biggest needs that we are looking for funding on in order to help them make the changes that they're looking to make to better their lives. So these were just a few pictures that I loved and I wasn't able to fit in, so I'm going to make you look at. This is one of the toddlers that was toddling around the New Mom Sewing Group. Albert playing one of the primary icebreaker games. Karina with a baby at the bead making group. They handed her baby. And so I was very jealous. And then another toddler that I was hanging out with, in the New Mom Sewing Group with one of the t-shirts on that clearly will fit him in later years.
one of the young ladies who was telling us about herself and what she's been able to do with the schooling we provided with her. Again, I was just so impressed with their just speaking skills. It's hard to speak. And that's something that we need to, I think, work on more in American schools. If they were really, I mean, they would stand up and they would do their best, and I was really impressed. This is outside of the hospital that they go to with the medical insurance that they're the 1,237 people have because of Gifts Rwanda. And then this was just after our presentation. 4 boys walking home. Do you see that in America? I don't. I mean, 4 young gentlemen just leaving like that. That's the community. That is the people of Rugarika in a nutshell. The community, these are not brothers, these are friends, you know, and it's just, that's how they treat each other and us there. Really, really special place. So, I'd like to turn it, hi, welcome. I'd like to turn it over to you with any questions that you have for Albert Renore. Oh, good, Al.
Not a question. Well, thank you so much. And you know what was cool for me, reading the blog every day and then hearing you tell about it, is, you know, every one of you here has given money that I've asked you to give. and you're all the ones that have made this happen. And it really was a thrilling thing for me to read about that. It's really doing something that's benefiting somebody, right?
It's really hard.
And it made me feel good about that. And I thank you all for your part in this.
That's the F of gifts, fulfilling. There is nothing more fulfilling outside of raising my girls than this opportunity to give to Rwanda.
Oh, we should say, Annie, that I guess this wasn't a question, but in case you're wondering, if you do donate to Gifts Rwanda, all of it goes to Gifts Rwanda. All our administrative costs, everything else are taken care of by an anonymous giver. So the money anyone gives goes to the projects. All of it.
Any other questions? You want to show them your skirt? The sewing group made this skirt for Rhea.
I have another question.
Oh, good.
So you showed the kids and stuff. Can you explain what's Gifts Rwanda have to do with this group of kids? What's that?
This group of kids.
You had some elementary kids, you had some secondary kids.
Yes,
What's
of course,
that?
yes. So Gifts Rwanda has many projects. On our website, giftsrwanda.org, there's a projects page, and it lists all of our projects. One of them is supporting primary students. So it costs money to go to school in Africa, in Rwanda and in Africa. There's no public school like America, and so it costs about $85 for a year of school for a primary student. That includes supplies and uniform. And then secondary school is about a little under $300 a year. And so our focus is secondary because it's a lot cheaper to send kids to primary than secondary. And also, as a lot of your parents know, primary school age is not that helpful. And so they send them to school. Secondary are much more helpful, so they pull them from school. They can't afford it, but also they can make them money doing mining and very unsafe jobs. And so we're really trying, we give food to the families and supplies that let their kids stay in secondary school to get them the education, let them stay. And so that's why our number for secondary is higher, because it costs like 4 times as much. And, 15-year-old can be out there making money for the family, but we're helping them make the decisions to let them stay in school and getting them the supplies and the shelter that they need in order for them to feel okay with that. And so then our next step is trying to get them the university and trade school funding. So, yes, I have it in here, but I can give the numbers on how many that we are. So we have 40 primary students, and then we have 70 secondary students that we're funding currently.
And you said it's 14 or 16 that we're hoping to fund?
Yes, yes. So there's 16 graduates, 2 of them have jobs, and 14 are looking for help with university or trade school funding this year.
And also to go on that, off of that, we don't just pick, or we just don't grab any kid who needs help to support, right? So this is something that we learned when we were there. Bridget and Hassan work with the local pastor to understand who in the community has the most need, and those are the people who we choose to support. Because people will come to them who may not need the money to actually pay for their kids to go to school, and so then they go through the list of the people who want to sign up to really understand who needs the help the most, who needs the house the most, who needs the goats the most. And so we're not just, getting anyone and everyone within the community who wants it, just the people who need it.
And it's also not just one person. That was something that was really cool. It is Brigitte Paton and the pastor. The pastor lives there and knows more about the needs of the community than anyone. But Brigitte and Paton know a lot too. I mean, there's not a soul that doesn't know them there. And so the 3 of them have to agree. So something I think that is a concern is like when one person has all the power or is in charge of it all, I don't know, that makes me a little bit nervous. But this is a team effort, and they together, all 3 have to agree on each person that's accepted. Something that Karina and I and Albert noticed, but Karina and I were in the classroom getting ready to give one of our talks, and there was just people like flooding in, and we're like, we don't know what's going on, but it looks like something I'm going to take a video of. So I took a video of kind of what was going on, and then asked Brigitte what's happening, and they were all circling around, and Paton was in the middle of this circle, and it was like 100 people around him, and he was in the middle, and it was people like that had heard we were in town and wanted help, and he was like, just because they're here, it doesn't change anything. The process is all still the exact same. You don't just show up and get it. You have to. This is the form. This is what you fill out. This is the process to do this. Nothing is different with them being here. And that was really neat to witness and see play out in action, and just know, that your donor dollars really are going to the people with the most need, and their process is really, really well executed. And that video is on the blog too.
You guys already say when you're going back?
I would like to go early August. You just have to convince your parents, so I can have your support in that.
And if somebody's interested in going with you?
Yeah. Well, I think I'm gonna go with the, there's logistics, babies, and who knows, so we'll have to see, but yes, I think annually would be an appropriate, not too often, but not letting too much time pass. August is a really good time for them. They're out of school, so they have some flexibility. Brigitte and Paton are teachers. I was going to say on the side, but it's Rwanda is on the side. That is a full-time job teaching. And it's not in Rugarika, so they teach at other places outside of the village. And there are other teachers that we got to meet some of that are on summer vacation that teach these primary and secondary kids, and then Paton and Brigitte help with that as well. What was my point? Yes, so August would be when I would love to return, earlier August. And I think annually would be appropriate, but just, again, the funding, making sure we have the funding for that.
Brigitte and Paton and the pastor, are these paid positions in any way, or compensated positions, or they're just volunteering all?
Yeah, so the pastor is totally voluntary. It's kind of a part of what he does of serving the community, and so this is like a nonprofit So it's looked at like we are helping him, serve the constituents of his church and community is how that's looked at. Brigitte Paton, the anonymous donor, gives them a couple, it's not much, like a couple $100 quarterly, but within our action plan that we are trying to get with the government and to be able to get some grant support, those are 2 paid positions that we're trying to get. And in that building that I showed, that first building, they would have an office in there. Yeah, and their goal, we found out while we were there, is to work for Gifts Rwanda full time.
I think it was an NGO, that would be easier for them.
Exactly, yes. Exactly. Yeah, that's what I said. Oh, wow. For sure. So I've asked them to keep their day jobs for now. But yes, that's our goal. Yeah. Yeah, so again, as this expands, I think going annually would be really important to see that progress and stuff. Will?
In relation to that, can you talk a little bit about the I of gifts?
Invited. Yes, so we were invited to support this community. Do you want me to speak on the original? So what happened was Sherry and Karina were there, and the pastor that ran, it's called Yove, Y-O-V-E village, they were helping with that village, and they met Brigitte and Paton while they were there, teachers, and, really, I think you understand now, Brigitte and Paton are 2 of the most trustworthy, honorable people that we've ever met in our lives, and they were helping kind of see how that was going. So this pastor had asked for their support and their help, but he started asking for things that seemed a little not on track with our own values and goals, and so Brigitte and Paton went and looked, and they said, I don't think this is the right fit. And so they worked with this other pastor in Rugarika who, really needed the help and support for his community. And Jerome, actually, Brigitte's husband, grew up in extreme poverty there. And so he's now lives in a different place, like an hour away, and has this chicken farm that he's giving back. So again, it's like coming out of extreme poverty, but still giving back and coming back to your community and helping uplift the other ones. And so, so we were invited to this community and just working really close with them for the needs that they are asking, they're requesting help with, and sustainable in the fact that we're not just hand-holding, and that they're not dependent on us by any stretch. That means we're giving them the skill set, the education, they're doing the work to then make it sustainable and run themselves, so they don't, if we were to go away, they would still have all of the education and skills to lead a better, more, efficient lives themselves. Does that answer your question? Okay. Any other questions?
How long will it take to get the NGO?
Okay, so what is the saying of Africa? America likes time, Africa lives time. We don't know. And they don't really tell you. And you're kind of at their mercy. But we are working on the action plan, and with this sector leader, my hope is, 6 months. But
Would that be why an annual visit is so important?
that would be partly of why, an annual visit and visiting the sector leader, and, being a part of those things and having the funding to pay off each of those steps to help them progress. Yes.
I just want to acknowledge the time and energy that you 3 took to go and do what you're doing. And I especially want to acknowledge Sherry's vision and commitment for over 10 years of really seeing it on TV, some issues however many years ago, to really following through and keeping your vision and support and bringing it all along. It's no small task. I just want to acknowledge you, Sherry.
Yeah, we're seeing that as a small girl on the television, serving her own community, her family, till they were adults, and then to come back to this is really, really powerful and something that we're all grateful for you to stick with and not to have left behind, which 99% of people would have. So thank you, Sherry. Anything else? Thank you so much, you guys, for sticking it out. I know it's a beautiful day and this was not short, but I really appreciate you sticking with us and listening to this, and we'll be here as long as, any of you want to talk to us, have questions. We have bags, ornamental doilies, beaded doilies, clutch for sale if it's something that you think that you or somebody that you know would enjoy, as well as the soaps, lotions, skirts that the sewing group is showcasing what so many of our projects, what they're actually creating, so that you can touch, smell. Also our coffee. Our coffee was brewed by the coffee that we are growing in Rwanda. That you can purchase on our website as well. It's Top of the Lake Coffee, and you can learn more about that on the website. But that's what's being brewed today, and then we have some bags on the table as well. Thank you so much.